Okay, we're going to get going now. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, September 24th. This is the Platinum Level Knee Pain Elimination Program. My name is Bill Paravano, the knee pain guru, the best in the world at eliminating knee pain without drug shots or surgery. I've got a lot of great questions today, and we are going to get to them shortly. We got Paul and Garrick. Whenever you guys are good to go, you give me a heads up there, and we'll get your questions answered as well. I am going to move over to the questions that I have. Oh, and if you are watching this from a webinar jam, go over to your right, and there's a chat box. You can, in the right of the chat box, you can type in your questions, put them in there, and I will go ahead and answer them live. You just leave the questions below where it says, leave your questions below. There is also, let's see, I want to do some housekeeping first. One is we got some new members in the program, which is great. We're going to get some really cool questions today. Emily has sent in a bunch of them. She's been going through all the homework that I gave her on our initial call, and she's been working on some things over the past several days, and it's really cool to see the learning process, because getting out of knee pain is very different when the goal is knee pain elimination as opposed to knee pain management. Conventional approach is knee pain management. So when we're looking at knee pain elimination, this program is essentially teaching you how to feel in your body, how to get out of pain. It's a very different process, very different part of your nervous system that you're accessing to eliminate the knee pain. And in going through that, you're going to fumble through. It's going to be like very much a learning process in terms of like, well, what am I feeling when I twist my leg to the right, when I twist my leg to the left, or when I'm working with my kneecap? How does that feel different? And in doing so, you're going to see shifts and changes in your body that you wouldn't normally pay attention to. Because when we're just doing sets and reps and exercising to get out of pain or numbing it with a drug or a shot, there's no accessing this part of who we are. So that is what we're getting into, and Emily asked some great questions, so I'm excited to get into those and answer those for her. So once again, if you're just getting into the webinar today, on the right-hand side, leave your questions in the chat area. Over on the right, there's the chat tab. Type in your questions that you have for working with or working in the virtual clinic. Garrick, yes. No, that's Paul. Yes, this is the right one. So we are good to go. Okay. Oh, wait. Paul, I have, you can come live on here, actually. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions live, and then, you know, we can get real-time feedback. And this way, family is coming in and out. Got it. Okay. I have a question from you in here, and I will read it. It is actually the first one. It says, surgery on the 8th, cut out part of the left knee meniscus. It was shredded, the medial part. Did not have to cut on the outer edge. Before the surgery, lots of pain on the inside of my knee and was having trouble getting out of cars. He said, "Oh, and trouble getting upstairs. Feel like knee is going to buckle or have pain. Top of knee feels weak." He said chondromalacia in that area. Should I be strengthening the knee at this point? Only passive stretching. Only passive stretching. Let's get the knee out of pain, and I'm going to go into more on the pattern chondromalacia, how it looks in the leg. I feel like I need to start building the muscles. 8 months before that, I had surgery on the right knee, same type of thing, but not having trouble going upstairs or getting out of cars. Okay. Paul, was that the question that you were asking about?
Yeah, that was the question that I was asking about.
Okay, cool. Let's see, strengthening, not at this point. Let's get you out of pain first. So for those that are watching that aren't really familiar with chondromalacia, there tends to be a rubbing on the back of the kneecap. The kneecap is like pasted onto the leg, and every time you bend the leg, you're moving, it's grating on the back of the knee, so it's a lot of pain and discomfort in the back of the kneecap. So Paul, as far as addressing chondromalacia, there's a huge pattern that ties in with the IT band on the outside of the leg that goes up to the hip. So we're going to have tension in the hip, we're going to have tension down the outside of the leg, we're going to have an external rotation of the lower part of the leg that then causes the rubbing of the back of the kneecap when you bend your leg.
Okay.
So some of your high leverage passive stretches that you're going to be looking at are going to be the rotation of the lower part of the leg, which is module 1. You're going to look at module 20.
You had already told me module 1, 2, 40,
Okay.
and then modules 22 and 23, 10 minutes before getting out of bed and 10 minutes before going to sleep at night.
Got it. I want to make a distinction with module 23. I want you to try module 23 just underneath the, which hip is this? Which knee is the one that's bugging you?
Left knee.
Left knee. So I want you just working with module 23 underneath the left hip, and I want you to work with module 1, which would be an external rotation of the lower part of that leg to relax the tension from the knee to the hip. So we're going to focus on the hip specifically. With 23, we're going to work on the other end of the IT band, how it ties into the knee with the external rotation of module 1.
Okay.
I want you to hold module 1 longer, though. So instead of it being like 30 seconds to a minute, I want you to hold it for 2 or 3 minutes. Get a deep sense of like relaxation. There's this part where all of a sudden the knee will kind of feel, or you'll get like this nondescript kind of soothing, cooling, tingly kind of feel in the leg, and that's what's happening is our nervous system is switching from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state, which allows for the relaxation of what's going on.
Okay. So you don't recommend jumping in and going through modules 1 to 40 passive stretching. You only want us to pick out the ones you tell us to. Say we have a lot of time and we decide to just dabble in all the different modules. Is that something to stay away from at this point in time?
Dabbling in passive stretching is fine. I don't have a problem as long as nothing's causing you pain.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when I mean pain, there's a distinction in pain. And if we create comfort in the knee or any other part of the body, because the passive stretches work greater than, or they're more in scope than just the knee. We're not just dealing with the knee. There's hips, lower back, ankles, feet. But as long as we're creating comfort initially, we're good to go. What people get confused on is the pain as a result of creating comfort first, and then the hurt so good feeling, pain that's created as a result of kind of pushing through the pain. And we're looking for comfort first. And if that shifts and pain is created, that's okay. But if we're like getting the body into pain first, like the back of your kneecap is bugging you. So I don't want you to create any pain in the kneecap at this point. I want you to do everything we can to create comfort in the kneecap so the kneecap feels like it's not there anymore. Not there in a good sense, that you're not noticing it.
Yeah, when you forget about that there's anything going on and it's just normal everyday
Right.
activity.
Right. Yeah. Is that helpful for you?
Yeah, that answered my question. Thank you.
I also want to give you 3 more stretches to work with the hips, and that's modules in the passive stretching section, modules 9, 10, and 11. That's going to work more with the hip, more with the hips, get the hips freed up.
And at this point, do you recommend staying away from using the foam pad rollers and things like that where you're rolling out the IT band and
what's your pain level?
I'm not sure if I can. I'm almost probably another week and a half. I'll be able to. You have that one exercise where you can walk on your knees.
Yes.
I probably gonna take me another 2 weeks to get there. It's still, you still can see the bumps a little bit from the surgery.
Okay.
So probably another 2. So rolling out, the pain level's not high unless I contact the area. You know what I mean? If I actually try to get up and kneel on my knee.
From the scar tissue?
From where he entered the knee areas, the 3 insertions.
Okay, let's do this then. Work with module 45, which is scar and specific pain point work.
That's passive too?
Passive as well, yes. I'd rather see you work with the passive stretch right now to get the pain level down before we push through it.
Okay.
Because it's apples and oranges. It's very different. And we got to get the pain level down to a place where your body kind of has the foot in the door, so to speak, as opposed to pushing through it at this point.
Okay.
So work with 9, 10, and 11 for the hips, 3 for the hips, 1 for the knee, and that's going to connect the IT band, work on both sides of the IT band, and then do module 8 for the kneecap.
Okay.
And hold those longer. And let's see where we're at. I think that's
all right.
That's good. Of course, water, nutrition. I think, you got the nutrition piece pretty dialed in, don't you?
I have a good understanding of it. Do I always practice it? That's a different story, but I have a good understanding of it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I hear you. Lots of ginger, green tea, turmeric, rosemary is always really good for reducing inflammation. That's going to just help the body heal in general.
You might want to even give to your audience, whatever. By mistake, I always forget, and I come back to MSM, and it'll be in a formula, and I'll overdo it, and I'll end up doing like 10,000 grams or just way too much, and it ruined I was up all night because it ends up turning into a laxative MSM when you take too much. It's not a lot of fun.
MSM does that. I didn't realize it was like a laxative.
Yeah, once you hit past, if you're not used to it, your body, just like vitamin C, works up to it, but MSM, once you hit a certain point, you're going to be running back and forth to the bathroom.
Got it. I had a client I was working with one-on-one. It reminds me of this story. He was out of LA and he was a weightlifter. And I told him one of the things that I also suggest is magnesium, because magnesium relaxes the body, but it's also a laxative if you take it in too high of a dosage. And on the bottle it says 2 teaspoons. of magnesium, and he took 2 tablespoons of magnesium, and he had a similar experience where he was just running to the bathroom. So definitely the amount is very important.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing, but you really need to want to. It just can be, you can lose sleep over it if you take it too late.
Sure, sure.
So,
So
yeah, thank you very much. I'll get to work.
you're welcome, Paul. Great. If anything comes up, just shoot in a question, and we gather those, and then we cover them on the next call, which will be in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thanks.
Great, Paul. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, let me get a couple of questions here. Let's see. We've got Paul's. We have a question here from Jose. It says, won't be able to make it to the webinar. However, I do have a question. Now that I've been doing the stretches on my right knee, once the pain subsided over the past 2 months, I started seeing that my left knee was also in pain, though not as severe as the right. I'm doing the stretches also on the left knee. Is it common that if you have knee pain, that even though you only feel it more on one, it can be just as severe on the other knee, even though you didn't notice it as much? For me, that's how it's been. I had no idea how much pressure my left knee was under. Thanks, Jose. Okay, great question. This is a great point. Our nervous system, our body has this way of upping the ante for pain. You injure your right knee, the left knee compensates. You injure your left knee now, because now all the pressure's in the left knee. Some other part of the body begins to compensate, namely hips and lower back. Or it goes up into your shoulders, because now you have to use your arms to support yourself no matter how you move. As we begin to feel what's going on in our bodies again, as we begin to create comfort in the area that's screaming the loudest, we can now hear, and when I mean hear, we can now feel the other areas of our body that were too tense before for us to know what was going on. And Jose, this is a perfect example of what's going on, and why people that get knee replacements in one knee end up getting a knee replacement in the other knee within a few years, because the compensation pattern in the body hasn't been addressed. The patterns still exist. I use a car that has been in an accident. The pattern is still there. The frame is still bent. We can replace the tires, but the pattern still exists, and we'll wear the tires in the same way that got the original tires worn to begin with. So this is important when we look at knee pain, to listen, meaning to feel in other parts of our body, where does the tension pop up? This tension can shift within the knee itself, meaning it can hurt in the front of the knee, and now it can be, we can gain awareness of it in another part of that same knee. We can also feel it in another part of our body. As Jose, as you're experiencing, the one knee was compensating for the injured knee, and when we got the injured knee comfortable, we were able to hear the pattern, we were able to feel the pattern in the other knee. So this is a process that the body goes through as it's kicking off the pain. You don't have to tolerate the pain, and what ends up happening, if we have the mindset of, oh, I can deal with it, I can deal with this level of pain, then the body ups the ante. Then you're like, oh, I can deal with this pain. It's not that bad. I'm doing okay. And then it ups it again. And what ends up happening is it keeps upping it and upping it and upping it until it gets to a point where something is damaged and we can't ignore it anymore. This is how I screwed up. Dislocated my left knee 4 times. Ignored it 3. Ignored it 3 times. So it was to the point that it was beyond the body's ability to repair it anymore. And what I'd like to share with everyone here is that it doesn't have to be that way. That we can get comfort in the body, and we can get your body to perform so it can express itself. So Jose, it was a great question. And keep an eye on, jot notes down for, Jose, for you, for others that are watching the replay of this, jot notes down as to how the tension pattern shifts. Where do you notice it? Where do you feel it move to? And that's what you send in the questions on, and that's what I'm able to help you with as it's shifting to other areas of the body. So Jose, thank you for your question. Okay, question here from Manuel. Hi Bill, during our call I mentioned that I was experiencing cramping in my calf and you recommended you do module 42. However, this module seems to be designed for pain in the thigh. Would you recommend that I apply the same technique to the calf? Any feedback would be great. Thanks. Yes, Manuel, I apologize. I meant that even though it is module 42, it's the skin twist. It's working with fascial tension patterns that are going on throughout the entire leg. And for you specifically, there was a pattern going on in your calf, if I remember correctly, that I wanted you to work with module 42. So work with your calf using the same approach that I was demonstrating in module 42 to release the patterns in the calf. And that way we free up the calf and see what the underlying pattern is going on, how that shifts, how that changes, what we feel on the other side of your calf being tight. So great question. Keep sending those in. Garrick, you ready?
Yep. How you doing, Bill?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good, good, great.
Okay, what do we got today?
Well, it's pretty much like the process is getting better every time. It's all little by little, millimeters. But it's getting better. Still feeling here and there some issues, like for instance, I just did yoga just now, I just finished it, and the kneeling position where you kneel and you sit on your heels.
Yes.
That's still a little bit stiff,
Okay.
but not impossible like it used to be.
Okay.
I still feel a little bit of pain when I'm swimming.
Okay.
After I'm done a couple of laps, but it's not as bad as before. I'm still trying to do the stretches every day, at least once a day, and they help. Believe me, they help. But there's my only concern I have is maybe some of the stretches you gave me. I'm not sure what use they are for my knee. For instance, the one you gave me with module 16, which is the toes, the stretching toes. What exactly is that? Will that do for my knee? I mean, is that a direct or indirect thing? The module 16.
Well, I honestly, you have to remind me what was going on.
Okay. The thing was that I had a problem with I think it was the extending the leg and for instance I had problems with the taking off running. When you take off running.
Yes.
But that's kind of it's not that bad anymore. And I have a problem with the extending because I feel that when I'm swimming, especially, I don't do the kind of swimming, the short distance where you kick your legs continuously. I do the long distance swimming where you do one kick per stroke,
Okay.
And that I feel sometimes when I do when I do 2 laps, like I do a 250 meters, then I do another 250, and after I get out of the water and I start walking, I feel kind of I just feel like a little bit of pain there when I'm walking out of the water.
Pain in the knee.
But it doesn't continue. I just feel it once, and then okay, it's.
Ooh, Garrick, we lost you. Okay, Garrick, I'm gonna wait till he may have had internet trouble. There we are. Garrick? Garrick? Hello, Garrick? Um, okay, I see. Let's see. What we got here? Garrick, are you able to? Your sound, I can't hear you. I see that you're back. It looks like you dropped off. Uh, can you hear me? You can hear me. Okay. We could either do one of two things. You could either type in your question, or you can try to log back out and log back in, and we can do it that way. So I'm good either way. I have some other questions. Okay, go do that. I'm going to answer some other questions, and then we'll get to you when you get back on. Okay, questions here from Emily Scott. She's a new member, Platinum Group member this week. Welcome, Emily, and she's got some great questions. I love her questions. They're awesome. Let's see, one here. Okay. When I did the prescribed videos, I submitted comments with each video. Did you read them? Yes, I'm reading them right now. I'm confused by what happened when I did some of the exercises, such as moving the kneecap and working with the fibula and tibia. My problem knee felt worse with new pain areas after I tried numbers 37, 40, and 42. You said that to everyone not to continue with an exercise that causes pain. I do not know how to judge whether to continue those exercises or discontinue them. I did them poorly the first time and I felt pain in more places than before, but I believe it can only benefit the knee to help it move freely. So I'm confused. Should I leave well enough alone and just keep relieving pain with the seated knee twist and meniscus stretch, or determinedly loosen up the knee with the exercises for pain on the inside, etc.? Emily, great question. I touched on this earlier in the call. When we're doing the passive stretches, as long as the initial movement is not creating pain, then we're okay. If you do an initial movement and create comfort, and then it changes, and it shifts and creates pain as a result of the shift that takes place, then that's okay because the tension pattern is moving to another area, and we need to create comfort in that other area. So your feedback is going to be very helpful for me by saying, how did it shift? How did it change? And maybe your other questions will zero in on that, and I'm going to get to those in just a moment. But that is the big piece. We don't want to push through the pain. We don't want to suck it up. Like, I don't want you creating pain in an area to get it to move, because we can get it to move. We can flip the pattern by creating comfort in that area. So that it's a huge distinction there. So now I'm going to get your next question here. This was in Module 1. This is more detailed than your YouTube video I have relied on. I do this twist often, years of active step classes with torque. I don't do advanced choreography step because when I turn and lose sight of the instructor, I can't follow through. I did the active gymnastic types of steps with jumps, turns, repeat arms, and floor. Lots of people give up step early due to injuries. At my gym, just to hold on to the 2 classes we still have, we turn out at 8 a.m. on Saturday for step. Gym friends are impressed with the pain relief when I have them try it. Twisting looks questionable. Wish you would also do pain relief for shoulders. I am working on the pain relief for shoulders. We'll get to that. Twisting, when you're doing Module 1, it's not always like a big brute force kind of twist. It can be very subtle. And what's important here is we're only rotating to the degree that it's still comfortable. In whether you're rotating it clockwise or counterclockwise, to the left or to the right, as long as it's comfortable. But we're wanting to go in the direction that moves easier, that is more comfortable. So we have two directions, to the left and to the right. We want to go to the direction that is easier, as well as in the direction that is easier, we don't want to twist it to the point of causing pain. So it is comfortable no matter how we're moving, or no pain, or it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. So that is important in doing so. Let's see, next question here is module. Let's see. Module 2. This is very difficult to do correctly for me. I have been ignoring the stair discomfort. I will have to rewatch this video. I like to get a hold of the two bones pressing different fingers, thumbs. Is that okay? Yes, absolutely. Now my tibia is sore. I want to do it correctly, so I will work more on it. Right now it's vague to me. The fibula is so visual, but the tibia is so hidden. Emily, the tibia is the main supporting bone of the lower part of the leg. And you're looking, actually the tibia and the fibula are moving together. So it isn't like we're isolating the tibia. We're moving both of them forward and both of them back in Module 2. Go slow and be gentle. Once again, we don't want to abuse your leg. It already has had enough abuse. We want to create comfort in it, and one of those directions is going to feel easier, less tight, less tender. That same philosophy, what we've been talking about. Okay, this is Module 4. So happy you did inside pain approach to fibula. Now I have done both. I wonder if I should just do my all-time relief exercise, the knee twist and the meniscus stretch. You say to figure it out for ourselves, but I need some guidance if I might neglect a very important basic to include. I will do my two favorites to try to settle the now sore fibula area. Maybe I will wake up in the AM with fibula soreness gone. I have opened up Pandora's box by fooling with fibula in not good form. On that side, now I have a faint twinge in the hip up from the fibula. This is good, Emily. This is good stuff. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that the pain shifts. The fibula may be holding a pattern that the tibia was compensating for. And then when we release the tibia and the fibula, now you feel it up in the hip because the hip was compensating for the tibia and the fibula. And when I suggest that you feel what's going on in your body and figure it out for yourself, that you're doing it. You are actually doing it, which I'm really proud of you. This is awesome. That after you did the fibula and it was sore, you went back to the tibia rotation, which is going to allow more space. Each time we do this, we create comfort. The pain shifts to another part of the body. You're doing it correctly. But what's happening here is we're learning how to feel. We're learning how to understand what the cues that our body is giving off. And initially, it's kind of like, a baby first starting to learn to walk. It's difficult, not really sure what the steps are or where to place the feet. And you're going to fall a whole bunch. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to get you back up on your feet and continue moving forward. Because this is a worthy pursuit. The lifelong sustainability and longevity of your joints is a worthy pursuit. So whenever you have pain, you know what to do. Okay, on to the next question. Module 4, this is going to be Module 8. Moving and pressing the kneecap. My kneecaps don't bother me, but I wonder if this would be beneficial. My kneecaps have not shifted since the dinosaurs disappeared. Okay, Emily. Great comment. I love it. At this point, You're being an overachiever, and we don't need that. Let's just focus on creating comfort. A lot of times, less is more. That if we just create comfort and learning how to feel in those areas that are painful, then we're going to get a lot more leverage than doing all of the stretches and just to see what happens. So just what is hurting, we learn how to create comfort there, pay attention to how it shifts, and we're golden. We're doing really well. Module 37. This is the fibula float. This is hard to do. Another one I must keep working at. I ended up with my chin on the computer table. Have to really get the form and hold of the fibula. No progress yet, just soreness. I think you are getting it. I read these questions may have been out of order, but I believe you are getting it. Just go gentle. Like you don't need to bear down on the fibula. You can hold it very gently. Think of it this way. Your fibula will move to the same degree as twisting a finger. Like you don't have to, the same tension is in the fibula. The same amount of tension to move the fibula is the same amount of tension as you would need to move your finger. So it's a lot more gentle than we need. A lot of times we put too much effort into it. So focus on that. Create comfort in there. Listen. Go millimeter by millimeter. Like, oh, I'm twisting it forward. Oh, there. It's totally out of pain. Oh, it's changed. Now, if I push it more, is it comfortable? Or do I need to go backwards? So this is something you're going to tinker with and feel for yourself. Because the place of comfort is what's going to be the key to your knee being out of pain. And one last question here. Passive stretching module 40. An easier way to hold the leg as opposed to the one in the book. I did that way with both hands in determination. I held the stretch for 1 minute and my arms were shaking. Now you're bracing the leg from both sides, ankle against a stationary object. Yes, I did figure that one out after I created the one in the book. One of the things that I did not take into consideration is a lot of people have tight hamstrings, so they can't touch their feet or they can't get to their ankles. So I had to figure out how I was going to do that. And by stabilizing either the inside or the outside of your ankle and then pushing on the opposite side of your knee is going to create the space that allows the meniscus to slide back into place. So that's a great one. So you're doing great, Emily. I'm really proud of you. That's awesome, awesome stuff. Garrick, how are you back yet? I'm back. Okay. Can you, I can't hear you. Did you want to type in your questions, or I can actually talk a little bit about when you were working with the toes? I may have misspoke on the video. It's not going to hurt to work with your toes because many times patterns go from the toes all the way up. If you're pushing off and there's a pattern going on in your ankle and your knee that's causing pain in the knee, it's going to affect all the way to the toes. Working with the toes are going to relax that pattern. It's not going to hurt to work with those, but I may have misspoke and added another video that you maybe didn't necessarily need to do. So that may be a part of what's going on, what may have caused the confusion. Tell me a little bit about, right in the thing you were saying, you go swimming 250 yards there, 250 yards or meters there back, and then you get a pain in the knee. Could you tell me a little bit about when you initially feel it? Is it extending the leg? Is it bending the leg? Is it pushing off? Feel it when extending. And is it in the knee joint, front of the knee joint, inside, outside? And for those that are watching, Garrick, below the patella. Okay. So do this. I want to zero in on that inside of the patella. Okay. I want to give you 3 stretches that are coming to mind that I think to work with it. I know you said it goes away pretty quick, but let's work with this just as soon as you get out of the water. Module. Work with module 8, the kneecaps, and module 8B, patella pull, and then module patella pull. Where is it? Module 28, the plant and pull. All of these are going to be working directly in that area right below the kneecap. And I think what's happening is when you're swimming, your leg is locked straight. So as soon as it's in that position of being straight. So as soon as you bend it, it's putting pressure on that tendon. So I think working with the kneecap, working with the patella pull, which is going to work with the patella tendon right below, as well as the plant and pull, which is going to address a femur override. So the femur is riding over the top of the tibia. And so when you go to extend it, it's like the bone, the tendon, something's going on in there. So I think that's where we're going to zero in on. Question on module 8. Yes, go ahead. Okay, when I'm doing the stretching, so this is module 8, when you're doing the stretching, pulling back and forth. On the kneecap, pulling the patella back and forth. Okay. Doing the stretching, pulling back and forth on the patella. And you're pulling forward. So you're pulling towards your hip. Is that correct? Away. So you're pushing it towards your feet, or you're pulling it away from. Okay, pushing it towards your feet. Okay, got it. And what is your question? You feel. It feels rough, like a little gritty. Okay, mine does too. Yeah, it's not pain. Mine does too. I think sometimes there's just irregularities in bone. Like the patella isn't really designed to be moved down that way, and this is more addressing the pattern in the nervous system that's causing it for pain. So you could move it up and down, side to side. You can have like little gritty pieces, and it's not gritty like there's something loose in there. It's just like you're just rubbing 2 pieces together. That's just how it is. As long as there's no pain. Okay, good. Great question. I love it, man. We're really zeroing in on exactly where the pain is, and I love it. That the more we dial it in and dial it in and dial it in, it's like the pain just doesn't exist anymore. Have you been able to, I think one of the last times we were speaking, I gave you all of those mobility exercises to do. those mobility stretches, and pay attention to those and where those tension patterns are, and just make notes. Send those in. Great. So, okay. Let's see, I'm going to check another place. Nice work, Garrick. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. I'm happy to be of service. And actually, this is it's really great. I mean, I love being able to help like you and Paul and Emily out, being able to zero in, answer the questions, and get you that movement forward in your life. Gosh, having knee pain is just miserable. Anyhow, okay. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions. Paul, I see you're still on the line. If you have any other questions, and I will be happy to answer any if you've gotten any more since we worked a little bit ago. And if not, that is totally okay.
Bill, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
One question I do have, since I had the right knee done 8 months ago, and that was my second surgery on the right knee. I had previous 20 years I had it done for an injury to the medial meniscus.
Okay.
And he went in there and cleaned it up again, and it feels pretty good now. I got mobility back, but every now and then when I turn towards you, it's when I'll make a sudden move, maybe what would it be, like a pivot to the left or a movement where I'm definitely doing a lateral type movement, and I'll feel it right in the meniscal area where it'll just feel weak and there's some pain. It's not a high level of pain, but it's there, and it's the type of thing that's just, I'm wondering, it feels like maybe if I do it the wrong way, too intense one time, it could, who knows what could happen, sort of type pain where, so I kind of wonder, am I at, and that was, like I said, 8 months ago, 9 months ago.
Yeah.
I never did any passive stretching. I didn't really know about it, but and I can strengthen and do things like that. But what point should I be at with that knee at this point in time?
Oh, that knee, I would be working with modules 1, 2, and 40.
So same passive stretching also, and
yeah,
it's just now I'm able to strengthen that knee too, right?
Yes.
What point do you know that you're able to strengthen your knee and get it to the next, go past or keep using the passive stretching and start adding when pain, because I still have a little bit of pain in that knee, but it's, like I said, I got full, I can squat on that knee to the point where I can sit all my life I've been able to touch my butt to the ground, you know what I mean, where what do you call that squat? You show it in your video, you call it like a
pistol
duck squat?
Or like a duck squat would be both feet on the ground, but a pistol would be one leg out.
No, I can't do that. That's when I was in great shape. But I mean, both feet are on the ground, your heels are on the ground, your butt's touching the ground. I can do that with the right one, but I can't do it with the left one yet.
Okay.
So the right one's got its mobility back. It just gets that weakness sometimes when I make a sudden movement, hang a cut or a pivot.
Okay. So what I would work with 1, 2, and 40, and then pay attention to how that shifts and changes.
Okay.
You cut, like, is it just to the left when you turn? Is it also to the right?
Mostly to the left. Mostly if I move if I pivot in to the left, yeah. It's a pivot. Or you can just, your knee hangs and all of a sudden, but it's always moving to the left.
Okay. So those 3 stretches are kind of like we're trying to get the waters to recede or the space to be created in the knee, like a flood. And when your knee is squeezing real tight, surgery 8 months ago, it hurts when you turn to the left, the body's going to form a pattern, a neurological pattern in the brain that connects with the knee that it's not safe to turn a certain way. Every time we do a passive stretch and take it to comfort, get the pressure off of those nerves, what happens is we create a little bit more space, and a little bit more space, and a little bit more space each time. The more we do it, the more space it's created. We also noticed those other areas that are tight, that were compensating for the rotation to the left, the lateral movement. As we create the space with those 3 specific stretches, based on what you're telling me today, that shifts and changes. That's going to give us an idea of where the other compensation pattern that is underlying the one that you're telling me about today is.
Okay.
And then we work with that. The cool part is, as we embrace this process and continue this process, it's not going to hurt to move to the left pretty soon, or the pain is going to be reduced so dramatically that it's going to be more like a distant memory than an acute kind of like causing hesitation. When it becomes that distant memory, that's where we want to start upping the exercise. We want to up the mobility. We want to get the body moving more, because it doesn't have that governor on the movement. Is this making sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we need to allow the passive stretching process to unfold, and then as that pain's reduced and you notice the changes that are going on, and you know what to do when the knee gets into pain, I'm going to sit down, do a passive stretch, the pain's going to go away, I'm going to be fine. Then we're going to start upping the mobility work, building the tendon and ligament strength in the joint. And then we work on your connection with the ground and pushing and explosive power from there.
Have you ever heard of the visceral therapy? It's what the orthopedics are calling, it's injecting hyaluronic acid right into the joint.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think? Do you think that's any more beneficial than taking a good hyaluronic? Because it's not cheap. Insurance covers a little bit of it, doesn't cover that much of it. So what do you think of that versus how well is a fluid like that going to stay in the knee joint and not just disperse into the rest of the body?
That's a really great question. I'm not a big fan of shots unless we address the pattern that's going on in the knee, the hips, and the lower back first. That's just my perspective, that if you have a joint that's squeezing real tight to protect itself because it's in pain, and it's dehydrating because it's squeezing tight, and we stick a needle into an already tight joint to try to pump it full of fluid that it doesn't want to hold on to because it's tensing up to protect itself, I think you're just wasting money, personally. That's my take. Now, if you want to take it orally and we don't address the pattern, it's still going to be, you're going to have the same effect. The supplement isn't going to be able to benefit the joint because the joint is squeezing too tight for the body to be able to utilize that supplement and get it into where it needs to work. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I like that take. That makes a lot of sense.
So get the passive stretching, get the joint relaxed, get blood flow in there. And then I believe if you're doing proper supplementation and your diet's dialed in, the body's going to heal itself. It has the space to do so. That's my perspective on it.
And last question for you. You had talked about something with bone to bone, skeletal, some author or something about.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Stephen Levine. He's a Harvard medical doctor, former Harvard medical doctor, that's done a lot of research on biotensegrity. And tensegrity structure was made famous by R. Buckminster Fuller. It's a systems theory. That is, like a geodesic dome, Epcot Center. Tensegrity structure is what he made famous. And what Dr. Stephen Levine did is he has done a lot of research and studies on the tensegrity structures in the body. And what ends up happening is when the body gets injured, the tensegrity structure gets compromised. And the tensegrity is a series of pulleys and levers. And if we have a knee injury, the body tenses up and moves away from the knee injury to protect the knee. And it creates excess tension in other parts of the body that begin to wear differently because now the tension pattern is shifted. Dr. Levine got a skeleton to walk down an inclined plane by reestablishing the tensegrity structure between the bones. And the really cool thing that he found out was that we aren't required, it wasn't required to have like the meniscus and the spaces, you know, the, what do you call it, in the spine, there's the little spacers between the spinal column to support the body's ability to maintain its structure and walk down this inclined plane just by reestablishing the tensegrity structure.
Interesting. Yeah, I found them on here.
Yeah, it is like way cool stuff. And when we understand the body from a tensegrity structure, the concept of bone on bone becomes an outdated mode of looking at the body. Because by reestablishing a tensegrity structure, relaxing the tension patterns in the knees, the hips, and the lower back, we can create the space in the joint, proper food supplementation, hydration. Now the body has the resources it needs to heal the damaged cartilage and meniscus, damaged tendons, ligaments, because it has the space and the resources it needs to heal. And when we're doing passive stretching, what we're doing is beginning to reestablish the tensegrity structure in the body. When the pain shifts and moves to another part of the body, like when I was talking Emily's question, her fibula let go, but then she felt it in her hip. That's exactly what happens with the tensegrity structure, is it shifts. The tension will shift to another area that was compensating for the part that hurts. That's why feedback to me is so important. So until you learn this process, until you get this process in your cells and in your DNA where you're like, oh, it hurts there, I know how to create comfort there, then I'm there to help you through that process.
Got it. I'll check him out.
Yeah, it's way, like, the tensegrity structure stuff can get real heady. And people could get into like the origin and insertion of the bone, the tendon, the ligament, the muscle, the nerve, you know, get into all the names, and it can get very like cerebral on understanding it, or what's comfortable. Teaching your body to feel how to get out of pain. So is that making sense?
Sure, yes, thank you.
Cool, you're welcome. Do you have any other questions?
Nope, thank you very much.
You're doing awesome, man. I'm like so pleased with what you're...
Well, actually, there's one. Have you ever heard any machines? Have you come across any? Because I got to go find. I have one chiropractor out here. The guy's built. He could play. He's just an Adonis. We're always, you know, since we're on the beach, he wears Speedos, this guy, and he looks like he could play werewolf and Wolverine. You know, this guy's just an Adonis. But he supposedly has a machine where people have regenerated ligaments, tendons in the area in the spine you're talking about, and I want to go see him to find out more about it. Mm-hmm. You know, you hear about those type of things every now and then, with, you know, but I've never really witnessed it myself, and I just hearsay more so. Have you ever run into any machines where you've seen really incredible results of regeneration of disc or bone or whatever else they?
Yeah, there's a machine called the PEMF, Pulse Electromagnetic Field. There's a friend of mine, he's a doctor out of Greenville, South Carolina, and essentially what the machine does is it detects vibration in the body, vibration frequency. And when you have an instance of a disease or a bone degeneration or something going on in the body that the body hurts, it slows down the vibration. You know, scientists can measure the vibrational frequency of our liver, our vibrational frequency of our femur, our vibrational frequency of our big toe bone. So there's the ability to measure frequency. And when that frequency begins to drop, the bone or the organ or whatever in our body doesn't have the ability to keep up. It's breaking down faster than it's able to regenerate. And this PEMF machine, from my understanding, is able to understand where the vibrational frequency has slowed down in the body and direct the frequency. So it raises the frequency of the bone, the muscle, the organ, whatever it is. So then the body, it creates a resonance or a frequency in the nervous system to be able to help it heal itself through frequency. Now, do I believe that's the only thing that you need to do? Probably not. I think nutrition and supplementation, the body needs resources. Once you leave that session, it needs the resources to be able to continue that process. Is the technology out there where it can heal? Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a lot of cool stuff. Like, I think I see this huge transformation taking place in you know, the medical model. Not so much in the medical model, but in the other options that are available for the body to be able to get to a place where it feels good.
Sounds good, thanks.
Sure. Is there any other questions?
I'm all good.
Okay. Well, great, Paul. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to wrap up the call here. Let's see. Okay, I want to thank everyone, Garrick, Paul, Emily, sending in questions, Manuel, Jose, for sending in your questions. Thank you so much. It is an absolute honor for me to be of service. Like, it's so cool to be able to share. I love it. It's like I have all this information in my head, and I want to help people, and it excites me to see people show up on the call and be able to be of service and help and benefit your life so you can go out and you can live the life that you want to live, the quality of life that you want to live. And that's something that I love sharing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. The next call is going to be, let's see, October 8th. We're going to, yes, it's going to be October 8th. Send in your questions. Send them to customer service at thekneepainguru.com. Put in platinum level in the top line so we know where it's coming from, and we will get to your questions and answer them on this call. Until then, have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week, and yes, thank you so much. I will see you next time.